Think twice before you look at an Asian person and think, oh, they're not Canadian or they're not American. They don't speak our language. They're foreigners. They're from China. They carry a virus. You have to make a lot of leaps in your logic to blame that person for that disease. And it just takes someone to think a little bit more deeply about the issue before acting in a way that's hurtful to someone else.
As much as we're so excited to have you, the reason we're talking to you, I'll be honest, it's actually quite infuriating. Of course, anti-Asian hate crimes have been on the rise for the last year or so. Why was it so important for you to be so personally involved with not just putting your face, putting, of course, your voice to this, as well as your money at the forefront of this very important discussion that we need to be having?
Well, I guess it's really just a question of how long are you willing to be ignored? We know that these kinds of incidents have been happening, throughout the history of Asian immigration to this country, but specifically this past year. And so when Wicha Ratanapakdee was killed in the San Francisco area, it had just reached a point where it was kind of enough is enough.
And one of the things that resonated with me was when you actually talked about your parents in an interview and how you said that they were afraid to go outside.
They're very aware that these attacks can happen anywhere at any time. And that's what's so particularly insidious about them, is that they're completely random. And, the people that have been attacked have been minding their own business, just coming back from lunch or just taking a walk. So it's a difficult time all around America and Canada because economically we're in difficult times, but it's just made worse by the fact that you have to worry about your physical safety when just minding your own business.
Anti-Asian hate crimes have increased by 1,900% in the US. And as I mentioned, that's just not a American problem. This is happening in our very own backyard, right here in Canada. In Vancouver, we just got some stats from last month, by over 700%.
It is important to call it what it is, because it's not just an American problem, unfortunately. I think it's been the most exacerbated in America because of the rhetoric by our leaders and our own history in America. But there are incidents in Canada, there are incidents in Australia, there have been incidents in Europe as well. So it's really just a universal problem about just not wanting to get along with one another, and it's a human issue at the end of the day. It doesn't, right now it's about Asian Americans. But throughout history, it's about people not being able to get along with one another, and that's really what it boils down to. You spoke about my parents. I'll mention them again, and because they gave the best of their lives to America. They came to this country and only contributed, and to be thought that they are now part of the problem, it's really heartbreaking.
And I think you make a really good point, just to look at people as like their own parents, right? Like, don't just separate it on what the outward looks like. But speaking of the outwards, though, TV representation, this is why it's so important. Your production company, 3AD, focuses on really featuring individuals who are traditionally underrepresented. So why was this such an important statement and a vision for your actual company?
When I had the opportunity to change things, I felt like it was incumbent on me to do it because I had the chance. And if you're put into a position where you can affect change, why wouldn't you?
That's exactly what you did with the first show from your production company, The Good Doctor. The first thought that came to my mind was like, wow, what a diverse cast. Like, this is what it would look like if I actually walked into like a hospital. And I mean, mind you, the doctors are never that hot. Let's just be honest. Hey, speaking of hot doctors, though, Dr. Jackson Han, I mean, you touched on it. You're an executive producer on the show as well. I was kind of impressed with your character, but it was also kind of shocking to see how much of a jerk, it's honest, it's true, Dr. Han was, and then that he got fired. but you're the executive producer. So technically, we could see the return of Dr. Han, no?
Sure, it's possible.
I was just going to say, I just think Dr. Han should come back. And then there should be like a female South Asian doctor who comes in. And then there's like, and then Nicholas
Are
comes
you pointing
back
to yourself? You're pointing to yourself.